During this presentation, I'm going to show you how to organize your Google Drive with folders. Now we're going to make an assumption that you've already created a Google account and that the Google account is all set up, you're able to get into it, and now we're going to talk about Google Drive. So we're going to do three things in this video. We're going to learn how to create folders, we're going to rename folders after they've already been named, and we're going to create a sample Google Doc and then save that to a folder. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and choose an account. Now you can see I have different accounts already that I logged into this machine. I've created this one called lcountrystudent. Notice the email address is lcountry.student@gmail.com, so it's just a sample account for presentation for training here. So I'm going to click on that, and it asks me for my password. I'm going to go ahead and put my password in that I've created, and I hit sign in, and it takes me to my calendar. That's probably just the last thing I was in. So I'm going to go up here to this little, almost looks like a tic-tac-toe board. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to the Drive, and you see I have YouTube, I have News Calendar. We've got all kinds of different things in here, but I'm going to focus today on this presentation on the Drive. So I click on Drive, and it takes me to this page right here, and it just does a little heads up that says, hey, you've got some additional opportunities for all your files. So I'm just going to close this up. I've got other announcements. These are basically almost like advertisements almost, but if you want more information you can click on this little guy, but we're just going to close this out for today. And here's my drive. It's empty. You can see down here I've got 0 bytes of 15 gigabytes used, which is really like a good size flash drive. So it's really quite a bit of storage, especially for we're just worried about basically word processing, English papers and lab reports and things like that. So what I'm going to do to first of all create a folder is I'm going to go to my drive. I'm going to click there. I'm going to create a new folder, and it gives me an option to title or name my folder, and I'm going to call it Technology Class. Okay, I'll hit create, and you see I now have a folder called Technology Class. And while we're at it, we're going to create a new folder as well, and we're going to call it English. And we'll create another one called Science. And you can leave class off if you want. I just put class in there just for a quick sample. So I've got a couple of different folders already created. Alright, so it's the same thing. You can just create new folders same way. Now if I want to edit this, what I do is I right mouse click on it, and I'm going to rename it. So if let's say I don't want class in there anymore, I just go ahead and delete that, click OK, and I've renamed it. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. Get rid of class. Oop, a little too far. Click OK, and there you have it. Okay. You might wonder what this getting started is here. This is just a document they actually just pop in there. You can just leave that alone, or you can delete it if you want. There's a little delete button there. I'm just going to leave it alone for right now. And if you double click on these folders, you can see that there are no files here. So I go back to Drive, my Drive, Science folder's empty. All these folders are empty. Okay, so now we're going to create a Google Doc. All right, and to create a Google Doc, I am going to go to My Drive, New File, and I can select Google Doc. And there's a second way you can do this. You can go to New Google Doc. So either way will work fine. And when the Google Doc comes up, you can see it looks like a standard word processor. I'm just going to say no thanks to this. It's untitled, and you can see it's just a blank sheet of paper. Nothing to it. So I'm just going to start typing my test Google Doc. I will save this in my English folder. Okay, so really simple. Now as you can see, it's untitled, so I'm going to immediately go to File, and I am going to rename it. And when I rename it, notice it says My Test Google Doc. I'm going to simply name it English Paper. Okay, and I'm going to click Enter. And of course you can enter it, you can save it to whatever you want. Okay, now if I click over here to my drive, you will notice that English Paper now sits on the root directory. So it's not in a folder at all. It's right there. Okay? And it's also in another tab, so I can click back and forth and edit as I want. But if I want to put that into a folder, I can simply click and drag. And let's say I go, oh no, I put it in the wrong folder. It's a science folder. No problem. I can either undo that right away, or I can double click on science, take that here, and I can right click and say move to, and I want to put it in my English folder instead. Click move, and you can see it's being moved. I go back to my drive, and now it should be in my English folder. And there it is. Okay, let's say this is closed. Up here, I double click on that English Paper, and there it is. Okay, and you have all of the different options that you would have in Microsoft Word. There's a bunch of different fonts. There's different sizes, bold, italic, everything you're used to. Okay. So that is the basics of a Google Doc and how to save it into a folder. How to create folders, how to rename folders, and how to create a Google Doc and put it into a folder and even move folders. And actually, there's a little bonus thing I'm going to say. You can rename this by right-clicking and rename it. And let's say we're going to call this English Paper -draft. And now that's a English Paper draft. Okay, so that's it. That is how you deal with creating folders, renaming folders, and creating a Google Doc.